Thank you for tuning in. This interview has been split into multiple episodes. If you have not listened to the previous content, you may want to listen to those episodes first. Enjoy the show.
It was a metal, hollowed-out fighter jet.
And it would get hot as
in the summer, you would come out with like third-degree burns because that sucker you touch it and it would like sear your skin. But everybody played on it.
They did.
And same thing with slides.
Oh, yeah.
All the slides were metal, and you would start getting down, and if any skin whatsoever touched it, you would stick, and it would just be like that, and just like rub you raw. And then you get down, and you'd be like, "Oh gosh, my leg!" And then you'd go back,
and you jump back up, and
you go back up, and you do it again.
I'm okay.
Yeah, or like monkey bars. Wear monkey bars. Like you hardly see those things anymore.
Not on playgrounds.
Nope,
on the beach.
Yeah, you see them. You see pull-up bars a lot on the beach.
Right.
But yeah, just the level of. And again, I'm not trying to say safety is bad. Safety is okay. Mm-hmm. But I equate it to like sparring gear. Mm-hmm. Sparring gear is obviously you have to have it. But at the same time, it almost gives people a false sense of security. Okay? Mm-hmm. Because if someone punches them in the head and they've got gloves and headgear on, it doesn't really hurt as much.
Oh,
now, you can get hit, and you can be like, oh, man, that kind of rung my bell. But if that would have happened and there was no safety equipment, you'd be unconscious.
Okay.
And sometimes it's hard for people to understand, be like, well, I'll take punches to the head because it doesn't really hurt.
Yeah.
Like, we used to have headgear with a cage over their face, a plastic cage. So if they got punched in the face,
right,
they wouldn't get bloody noses or it wouldn't hurt their face.
Right.
I started watching all the kids, mainly the kids, little kids. Mm-hmm. They would routinely take punches to the face because it didn't hurt. And they would take 2 or 3 punches to the face, and then they'd punch somebody back.
Right.
And I'd be like, dude, you can't do that. And they're like, why? It didn't hurt. Like, that's not the point. Like, if I took that away and they punched you in the face 3 times, that would hurt. And they're like, well, it didn't hurt. Yes, I know that. It didn't hurt right now. So it's like safety equipment, we have to have it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's also not allowing people to understand, like, the true nature of what it means to be, quote unquote, hit. And you have to be careful with that because you can't just have everybody get cold clocked.
Right.
Because then you wouldn't have any students. But at the same time, it's like, dang it, like, they need to understand, even if it didn't hurt, you still got punched in the face.
Right. You know, one more step, what parents don't have to deal with is that whole reality versus, how do you even say it? Non-reality.
Virtual.
Art, virtual.
Yeah.
You know, that was...
No, we didn't have that back in the day.
Yeah, that wasn't it back in the day.
A lot of people have a real online persona and like a virtual persona.
Right.
And they get sucked into these realities.
Right.
And they can only function in these realities.
Right.
Yeah, going back to technology. So...
Yeah.
Now, the flip side, what are some things that parents nowadays don't know, or like, what is it? What did you have to deal with that's harder than the parents nowadays?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the placement of that whole this or that. I mean, looking at what parents go through now, it just makes me think, I don't know.
Like
what really did we have to deal with?
Yeah.
I think
transportation, yeah, that's an issue.
Getting somebody to where they have to be at a certain time. you know.
Yeah, because a lot of parents or a lot of families didn't have multiple cars.
Right,
That's
and
true.
I remember
That's a good one,
we
Mark.
didn't have multiple cars for a
Right.
long time growing up.
Right.
I remember having to take the bus and
Mm-hmm.
like you would have to plan the day
Around the bus.
around the bus or transportation to get certain places.
Right.
So yeah, I think transportation's probably one that most parents nowadays don't really understand, because if they don't have a car, they can Uber.
Right. Wow, that was really good, Mark.
That's a good one. I would agree that transportation, that's an issue that was a lot harder back in the day than it is nowadays. Entertainment, I would probably say, is something that was harder back in the day than it is nowadays, or like keeping quote unquote your kids entertained. Because it's so easy to just give them a laptop or an iPad and be like, hey, watch this show. Even though that's not necessarily the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't hear go outside and play that much anymore.
Yeah, or hey, come outside, like parents going outside with their kids and playing.
Yeah.
Because they're either working or working from home or doing something else. Like, I don't know what they do, but I'm not saying parents nowadays don't go outside with their kids and play.
Right.
But
they don't do it as much as they used to.
Yeah, they don't. They definitely don't.
So was it the original part of this parents telling their kids what to do, or how to play? What was the original thing?
The original part was like keeping them entertained.
I think it was easier then.
Really?
I really do.
Okay.
Okay, I couldn't exactly remember what that question was.
Yeah.
I think it was easier then.
Interesting.
Because when you don't have a bunch of stuff, you find stuff.
Yeah.
You find stuff to do.
Or you make things.
Or, yeah, I mean, you and Amy were always climbing in that crabapple tree.
Yeah.
It was a perfect climbing tree, actually.
It really was.
Yeah. Or just picking those off for no good reason, but still, I didn't care.
Yeah.
Just that kind of thing. Riding your bikes more. And I don't.
That's another thing. You don't see a whole lot of kids riding bikes anymore.
That's true.
Now, granted, my neighborhood that I live in, we don't have a lot of kids.
Right.
So my perception might be a little misconstrued. Like if you go up into some neighborhoods in Harriman and South Jordan, there's hundreds of kids.
Right.
I mean, they could be playing all over the place. I have no idea.
Right.
So, but these are just my perceptions.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think it was easier because when there wasn't a lot of prefabbed entertainment, that the toy kind of dictated how you played with it.
Yeah.
Most kids will find.
Yeah, most kids are
do.
a lot more creative than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
Back in my day, it was the rubber bands and army men.
Yeah.
You set up the army men and shoot them down with the rubber bands.
There you go. Yeah, the little green plastic army
Right.
Okay, for reference, kids that are if any kids or younger kids are listening to this, think of the Toy Story army guys.
Oh, that's
perfect. Those are what we were talking about.
Yeah.
They were like maybe 2 inches tall. There was like 5 preset poses.
Right.
Yeah.
And you would set them up and you'd battle with them.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, and you and Amy, used a mattress to slide down the stairs.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
That kind of stuff.
No, and it's funny because, again, going back to like safety, there was an element of danger.
Right.
But it wasn't extreme danger.
Right.
Like, yeah, there's a possibility you smack your head on the wall. Okay. You might have a headache for a little bit, but you're ultimately okay.
Right.
And then you knew not to do that again. Or you would know not to take off from the top of the stairs and try to jump down to the bottom of the stairs.
Right. Not a good idea.
You did it once, and you're like, that really hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to do that again.
And here is why. Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, I think kids are a lot more creative than we give them credit for if they have the opportunity to be.
That's it. Opportunity.
So, All right, moving on to the next question. The next question is pretty much the same as the first, but with relationships.
Oh,
Okay, obviously you guys are almost at 50 years married. Yes. It'll be 50 years in 29. So
yes.
Yes.
So 5 more.
So you guys have been married for 45 years. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a not anything to kind of like shrug your nose at. Like most people don't get married for 45 days. So so the fact that you guys have been together for 45 years.
Yes, I've been taught well.
Yes, you have been. Good husband answer. What are some challenges that like relation or like newer marriages, people married nowadays are facing that you guys didn't have to face when you first got married?
Oh, gee.
It's one you got to think about a little bit, I think.
That's hard.
Yeah. Honestly, it's probably a lot of the same answers as kids.
Maybe.
Like dealing with parenting. Technology is a huge thing.
Yeah.
You know, I know sometimes I've got to like stop myself because all of a sudden it's like, damn, I've been on my phone for an hour and Shanna's sitting right next to me. I haven't said a word to her. I should probably put my phone down and talk to her. You know?
You got to worry about putting your foot down. You might get stepped on.
Yeah, no,
too.
not put my foot down. That's getting stepped on. No, but putting my phone down. So I think technology is a big thing.
Right.
You know, back in the 70s, you guys didn't have those technology issues to where it's like, oh, we don't, like, oh, I'm bored. Okay, I'll get on my cell phone instead of talking to the person I'm with.
Well, I am really just having a hard time figuring one out.
Mm-hmm. I honestly, I'm going to say, like, these could be the same exact answers for the parenting question.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know, transportation, you know,
right.
Or, you know, too much communication, too much information. Right. You know, everybody's an expert in everything now because we have the internet.
Well, that's true.
It's like,
I know everything. I don't know about everybody else.
That's exactly. Like, I can't tell you how many people think they're medical experts because they get on WebMD.
That is true.
So now all of a sudden we tend to overanalyze everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know when it hurts, you don't do that again.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, you know, getting back to the communication thing and just stripping away the technology, communicating like you and I were sitting across communicating.
Okay.
I think in keeping a relationship going, it's continually getting to know the person so that your communication is always staying better, it's improving, and you're not communicating based on the way you were last year.
Yeah, I would agree, and we would tend to think that that's an easy thing.
Really.
No, it's not very easy at all, because sometimes it forces us to take a look at ourselves and realize we're not doing something as well as we should.
It's true.
And most adults, kids have really no problem with this, to where it's like, that's why you need to take a child's like mentality sometimes. But adults, when you tell them they're not doing something well, they get defensive.
That is true.
And it's like, why are you defensive? I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying, hey, you're not doing this correctly. Start doing it like this. And there's nothing wrong with having somebody that can gracefully walk you through that.
Right.
Without demeaning or insult. And everybody's like, you're insulting or disrespecting me. No, here's the truth. Like, if I'm doing something wrong as a husband, thank goodness Shanna's got no problem telling me. And that's a good thing, because now all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm doing something that could possibly cause an issue in our relationship in the long run. It's going to get stopped so it doesn't become an issue later on.
Right.
But if I don't know it's a problem, I'm going to continue to do it, and then all of a sudden it becomes a problem.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, that, I just see that as a big one. Sitting here and listening to you and dad. Seems like that's a big one, communication.
Yeah, communications, I think, we're not as well at it now, and I think you probably had to be better at it
Right.
in the past.
Right.
One, I think, because of technology.
Exactly. How many people write anymore?
Yeah.
You know, and the phrase will pop up on the screen. Oh, that works, but did you really read it?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a whole nother topic, I feel like.
Well, not only that, but like I said, with like making it was easier now is like we don't, it makes us a little bit lazy now because we know that we could just grab our phone and text it if we need to.
That's true.
And then sometimes we just don't even do that.
Yeah.
But yet, when you only had a home phone or a phone at your work,
Right.
like you had to make sure you communicated directly and clearly either before they left
Yeah.
or while you had them on the phone.
Right.
Because there would be a disconnect for a while.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think it's the whole relationship question, you know, what's different now versus back then and vice versa. I think it's almost the same answers as parenting, but instead of dealing with children, you're dealing
Right.
with each other.
I think you're also dealing with the time you're at, the what times are like.
Yeah, no, exactly. So like, you know, there are obviously certain challenges that are facing couples nowadays that you didn't have to face in your time.
Right.
And there are things you had to face in your day that they don't have to face now.
Right.
You know, it's always, there's always something different with every generation. Like if we asked grandma or grandpa and Nana like what challenges faced them when they were young and in relationships, it'd be like very similar but in a different context.
Sure.
So, but yeah, no, it's very interesting because you always definitely want to learn to make the next generation better. So,
Right.
you know, the problems you guys had to face, obviously these guys don't have to face. Which, I mean, that's always the point. The point is to make, like I said, the next generation better than your generation.
Well, yeah, yes, that is the hope. I would hope that we would each take that seriously, you know, because it does require stripping things down to the bare bones, you
Yeah.
know.
And like we talked earlier, a lot of people don't like to figuratively take a look at themselves in the mirror and point out their
Yeah.
flaws, which we all have flaws.
Yeah,
To look at yourself and say, I'm flawless, I mean, that's a lie.
that's true.
Now
But,
you're delusional.
well, you know, and maybe instead of saying flaws, I agree with you. We all have them, but maybe thinking, okay, how can I grow? What am I supposed to learn from this?
Opportunities for improvement. So like with us here, we try not to say problems.
Right.
Like we're not having problems, we're just having an opportunity to grow. So
I think it's good to redirect those kind of thoughts because, yeah, it can change the connotation of something. Okay.
all right, moving on to our third and final question.
Woo.
It is, what is one thing you learned from your parents that you are grateful for?
Survival. To
Yeah.
be able to live
Yeah,
and keep living.
yeah.
And not give up.
The Diaz family are definitely fighters,
Yeah.
both figuratively and literally.
Well, I was dead for a while.
Yeah, you were.
So knowing that and trying to keep going is a difficult thing, but you just got to do it. Like my dad says, you just got to keep going.
Yeah, like kind of continuing on with that, again, context for people that may or may not know, when you were 18 years old, you were hit by a dump truck in
Right.
Panama. Not only were you hit by a dump truck, but you're hit by a dump truck on a motorcycle.
I'm a motorcycle, right?
And it drug you for
I
a
don't.
while. We don't know. Obviously, you have no idea.
For about a couple of years, I don't know what happened.
Yes, so you're missing a few years because of the accident. Yeah. Now, I knew you were in an accident. You talk about it. You joke about it. I say you have your 3 jokes you tell everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, you went on a crash diet. You didn't have the guts to do that again. Yeah. I
bled
showed
all
him.
Over his fender.
I bled all over his fender. Like, those are the standard 3 jokes you tell everybody. Okay, so like I've heard those my entire life.
Yeah.
So you made very light of the accident. So like you hear it, like you're hit by a dump truck, you're in a coma, you're like, oh God, that's really bad. But then you hear your jokes and you're like, okay, maybe it wasn't that bad. Yeah. I remember the first time I took Shanna to Alabama to go visit Grandpa. I talked to your sisters, Leanne and Linda, and I got a totally different view of that situation. It was a lot worse than I could have imagined. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you didn't know because you went through it, so you're on the, like, we're talking from people that are on the outside. I
slept through it. Exactly.
You have no idea what was going on because
I was unconscious.
Your body and your brain shut off, so you didn't remember it.
Right.
It went through its own defense mechanism.
When
they described the situation to me, the fact that you have the life that you have now, you had a career, you raised a family, you had a very successful life, is astonishing. Okay? Because everybody thought you weren't going to be anything. They thought you were just going to be in a wheelchair, not literally a vegetable. That's what they told your mom and dad. Like, you need to prepare for the worst because this kid's not going to get any better. They told Grandma and Grandpa countless times you weren't going to make it through the night.
Right. They were called down at least.
Yeah. And I had no idea about that. Because forever I hear your jokes, you know? So I hear that you went through this thing, but to hear it from their side of the story, my goodness, it totally changed my perception of it. Like, I know you and okay, so you have 3 siblings. You have, you're the baby, so you have 2 older sisters and a brother.
Right.
Leanne, Linda, and Rob.
Right.
Okay. I know you and Rob have your issues or had your issues. Yeah. Just like any brothers would. I mean, you guys constantly would fight. But I know for a fact he, like, obviously it's family, so he cares about you. I remember him out, like, they would say that, because obviously I didn't talk to Rob about this. He wasn't there. They would say Rob was so enraged and outraged about the whole situation because, again, for context, the dump truck that hit him fled. They ran off. We never found them.
Right. It was a hit and run.
It was a hit and run.
Well,
Rob went and looked for them that day. He went out in Panama looking for the dump truck and the people driving it. And he went with the mindset of he was going to kill them.
Right.
He's like, these people aren't, if my brother doesn't make it, neither are they. And that, I was like, wow. Because I know, I mean, I love my Uncle Rob. He has his issues. I never saw that side of him. Okay, again, because we're talking when you were 18 years old.
Right.
I mean, this was back in the
70s.
Early 70s. Mid 70s, yeah.
73 it happened.
And you were so dark from being tan. Like, you look like a native Panamanian.
Right. I was out in the ocean for 5 days.
Exactly. So you were like, you look like a local.
Yeah, I turned black.
Okay. So when you got hit, they thought you were just some local kid, and they didn't give you any priority.
Right.
It took a while for you to get transferred to the military base.
Well, the Gorgas Hospital was up on the hill.
Yeah. So
I wasn't too far away from it.
Yeah, it took you a while to get to the care that you needed.
But
And-
that was because they found out Dad was a lieutenant
Exactly.
colonel.
When they found out who Grandpa was, everything changed instantly. So that just kind of showed that Grandpa had a lot of power and influence in that area at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that because I remember going to the military bases with Grandpa because I knew Grandpa was in the Air Force. But again, as a kid, you don't really know the status or hierarchy.
Right.
And like every time we went anybody, everybody kept saluting him. And Son was like, why are they doing that to Grandpa? It's like, he's just Grandpa. He's not that important. You know? But now it's like, okay, he was a pretty high ranking officer in the Air Force. And I remember hearing or Grandpa saying that he was actually on a base tour.
He was in Colombia.
Yeah, he was on a base tour in Central America, like touring all the military bases in Central America. And the second he landed, somebody went up to him and was like, hey, your son's been in an accident. They flew him home right away.
Right.
The fact that that happened, again, just kind of shows you the power and pull Grandpa actually had. The fact that they got him out of Colombia and back to Panama in hours. And this is something I didn't know either. Grandpa hired a private detective to find the people and the dump trucking company. Because the day after that you got hit, the trucking company went out of business.
Yeah, they folded the next day.
Yeah. So Grandpa hired a private investigator to find him for years. And they could never find him.
Right.
And again, I don't know what would happen if they did find him. I'm thinking they wouldn't find them.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm that's just pure speculation. So again, going back to your accident and the fact that, you know, you say survival, yeah, that is definitely something that your parents instilled in you because of the accident.
Yeah.
Teaching you to continue to fight, not to give up.
Right.
Things may get hard, but it's fleeting. It's passing.
Right.
If you're able to breathe and stand,
There's
You're able
hope.
to keep going.
you can do it.
There's
And
hope.
that's something that I think needs to be reinstilled in this modern day, especially men,
Right.
modern day men. Because too many men are taking their own lives right now because of the challenges that they face as men. Okay?
Well, when you get your body put back together, you tend to want to keep it that way for
Exactly.
a
You have more appreciation for life and for your body and for the simple things.
while. Just to be able to wake up in the morning is great.
Exactly, because again, there was that time frame in your life where that wasn't a guarantee.
Nope.
So that's a great thing that your parents instilled in you, and that filters down in through me. So that I'm thankful for it because I get some of it. So that's a great thing. So, Mom, what about you? What is something Nana and I call him Poppy,
Yeah.
your dad,
Yeah.
have instilled in you? Or not instilled, but like you're grateful that they taught you that.
Yeah. Let's see. My mother was the one that I almost said made me. Now I want to put it in a positive light. Well, it's not like I asked for
Yeah.
piano lessons. You know, you're 5. So
No, but it
anyway,
may, like encouraged you or
Yeah.
forced you,
Right.
whatever.
whatever
Yeah.
word you want to insert. So, but I would say it's that she made that opportunity for me
Okay.
because it was music turned out to be a really important part of my life. My dad, a lesson, and I'm still learning it, is humility. It was, he never tooted his own horn or, drew attention to himself in any way at all. But he was a very smart man, and he played baseball for the Cardinals.
Yeah, he played professional baseball.
He played professional baseball, and he always told this story that he was still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was 17 at the time. Anyway, a bunch of guys went up to St. Louis where they were having
tryouts.
I'm forgetting my words. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah.
Tryouts. And so they were out there and they were trying out like everybody else, but once they found out that they were under 18, they kicked them off the field. But
Yeah.
they didn't know that before, I guess. They were just hanging in there.
I remember hearing the story, and they got mad at Grandpa, and they said, "Hey, next year when you're 18, make sure you come back."
Right, that's right. And so he did. A long story short, he made it. But he quit mainly, I think, because I was born. I'm not for sure because he never talked about it at all. But
I remember hearing a story about it.
Yeah.
Where he came back from a road trip.
Yeah.
And you had a hard time recognizing him because you were young.
Right.
And when that happened, he realized he valued being a dad more than he valued playing baseball.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? That's it. I'm hanging it up. I'm being a dad.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah. And a little bit more context on your dad. With the whole humility thing, he was probably one person that could be the cockiest person who ever wanted to be.
That's true.
Because he was very talented in a lot of different assets.
Yes.
He was a extremely good athlete. He was all-state in football, baseball, and basketball in Illinois in high school. And now, granted, this was back in the
50s.
Yeah, the 50s, 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
So, like, professional sports weren't really prevalent back then. Mm-hmm. They did have professional sports, but you didn't make a whole lot of money doing them.
Right.
Not unless you were Babe Ruth.
Right.
You know? So, he could have honestly done any one of the sports that he wanted to.
Yeah, he could.
And he was extremely good at them. And he was one that I say he was a bigger guy. But again, I was very young, so he obviously was big to me.
Yeah.
But I don't remember like how big he actually was.
Yeah.
Was he like 6 foot, or was he taller than 6 foot?
Taller than 6 foot.
Yeah, he was taller. He was 6'3".
Okay.
All of his brothers were, except for the first one. They were all tall.
Big, tall kids. And he was tall. He was big. He was very charismatic. Again, but he was extremely humble. He never tell you how good he was at anything.
I tell you, when I first met Bob, I told him I played golf, and he made fun of me.
Yeah, because real sports, you sweat.
Yeah.
And golf,
you don't sweat.
You don't sweat.
But I tell you what, he picked up golf. And he was really, I was with him when he made a hole-in-one one shot.
Yes.
On one course. And then he got into it so much he started making his own clubs.
Yep. I remember hearing a story that you took him out golfing and you beat him one day.
Yeah.
And that pissed him off so much. Not like mad at you, but like
right.
the competitive nature kicked in so much.
Right.
I couldn't touch him.
I was going to say that he vowed to never lose to you again.
And it worked.
And he did it.
Yep. So, yeah, he would play golf, and I remember him as a golfer.
Mm.
He would play golf, and he made this tiny club that was maybe 2 feet long.
2 feet, yeah, 2 feet long.
It was, and again, he's 6'3", and he's got this club that's 2 feet long, and he would hit that sucker so far.
Yeah.
And everybody would look at him like he was crazy. And he would like bend over and squat down to hit this golf ball with this 2-foot club, and he'd smack the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody would just look at him in astonishment. So
I remember Mark saying, "Your dad has the worst form of anyone I've seen, but he can hit that ball hard."
yeah, I think you told me a story where he was golfing with one of his brothers, and
Oh, geez, are you really going to tell that story?
yeah, I
Okay.
am. And he hit the ball on the green, and as lure or legend goes, it got close to the hole, and he stomped the ground and farted, and the ball went in. So that's the kind of person he was. He
Yes.
was very happy-go-lucky.
There you go.
He, again, another story. He was prom king, and he had to escort the prom queen in the court for one of the half times at the football game,
Yeah.
and he decided to wear his overalls.
Yes, that's true.
So he didn't dress up, and he
No.
wore his overalls while
Right.
the prom queen was all gussied up and
Yay,
dolled
Dad.
up, and she was very upset with him that he wore overalls. And he's like, "Well, I don't care.
I don't care. Yeah.
That's just how he was."
Yeah, that whole thing. Grandmother would always say that when she and Grandpa wanted to go out, they would never leave my dad in charge. He was the second oldest. They would never leave my dad in charge because he would let them do whatever they wanted. So they left the older brother, Jack, and he always held down the fort.
There you go. So, yeah, he was a very humble man that
He was.
honestly he didn't need to be, but he definitely was.
Yeah, he
So,
was.
He was one that unfortunately was taken from us far too soon also.
Yes.
He had lung cancer,
Yeah,
and unfortunately lung cancer got the better of him,
it
but
did.
he was, I wish I could have known him as a young man, because he passed away when I was, 8, 9, 10. I was very young.
You were young, yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember him,
Mm-hmm.
but like,
He wasn't able to teach you baseball how to pitch.
yeah, there was a lot of things that I wish I could have learned from him.
Yes.
So, but I mean, I feel like I have through other avenues.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, those are great things, because a lot of times we don't take the time to look at our upbringing and be like, man, you know what? I'm really glad this happened, or I'm really glad they taught me this, or I'm really glad someone showed me that.
Right.
A lot of times we just kind of go through life, and I don't want to say we're ungrateful, but we just don't think about it.
We don't. Yeah.
So it's, every now and then we have to take a look back and be like, you know what? I'm really grateful my parents did this for me.
Mm.
I'm really grateful someone did that for me.
Yeah.
So I know I'm grateful for, like with you, Dad, like as a father and someone that works now, I understand how hard this was now. At the time, you made it a routine or a part of just everyday life. I was very active in sports. I played almost everything under the sun, ironically, except for football, because you thought it was too dangerous.
Yes, I did.
You and Dad.
No, my dad didn't think so.
And I hurt myself in every other sport, so whatever. It's all
Okay.
good. But you would show up to every single game, regardless of when or where. And that, at the time, again, you just think, well, that's just how things are done.
Right.
Because again, I don't know any different. Okay, so having separated myself from it, that was a very hard task to do.
Right.
But I didn't understand the difficulty of it until obviously later on. Because, having Jamin doing sports and mine doing dance, there were things I missed because I was working or other things. So the fact that you were like at every single game with your folding chair
Never leave home without it.
No, man, he would have this chair, this folding chair that was, oh God, like
older than dirt.
Yeah, and you took it everywhere, even into basketball stadiums. You took it everywhere. So you could always tell if you were there because there'd be a folding chair at the end of the bleachers. And not only that, but you started a trend. Other dads started bringing folding chairs to the games too because bleachers suck.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
So when I would sit in bleachers watching like Maya or Jamin do stuff, I'd be like, oh God, now I know my dad brought a chair. So you were at every single game and you understood the value of that support. And that's something that, man, at the time I didn't quite understand, but now I fully understand that that was a big deal.
The run hard game was that one in Tropic where we went up into the mountains.
Yes, in Bryce Canyon.
Yes.
I had to drive on, and I had to drive back.
Yep, and then you had to drive back. Yeah, having driven through stuff like that, again, it's like, damn, now I understand. I think there was even one year we drove back from Cedar City, and we ran into a snowstorm.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I that brings up memories because I remember coming home from Richfield after one of Maya's dance competitions, and we ran into a huge snowstorm, like really, really bad. We were driving about 15 miles an hour for 4 hours until we were able to kind of get into a clearing, and it was so bad that you couldn't see more than 10 feet in front of you, and you had no idea where the road was.
Oh,
So you had to like basically follow the lines of the car that went in front of you.
yeah.
And if you deviated, you could have driven off the road.
Wow.
So, I mean, that was white knuckling to begin with. And Jamin was asleep in the back.
Best
And
thing
he had
going
no idea
on.
what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So yay, moms and dads of the world.
exactly. And one thing I've taken away from you is, compassion and empathy. You very much are, you worry about so many other people that sometimes you forget about to worry about yourself. And that's something that, and teaching, because you were a teacher, you taught. So naturally it's like I'm in some form of teaching. So being able to take those things away from watching you teach as a young kid, teaching your students and like understanding them and sympathizing with them, it goes a long way. Goes a long way. So I appreciate you guys for that.
Thank
And
you.
without getting too sappy, we're going to move on to the next section, our fight scene. Okay, this week it is two real people, but two people that would have never had a chance to fight each other in real life anyways. So we've got Mike Tyson versus Chuck Norris. Okay, so let me explain the how we do this. We go through three rounds.
Okay.
Each on their kind of quote unquote home field. So like when we talk about fictional characters, it's like this fictional character in this realm or their home field versus then they do another in another field.
Oh.
So we're going to do a boxing match, a karate match, and then a cage fight. Okay, cage fight would be like anything goes. Then a karate fight and then a cage fight. So if we put Mike Tyson and Chuck Norris in a boxing ring with boxing rules, who do you got winning?
Oh, Tyson probably because he's got.
He's a boxer.
He's a boxer, so that's his arena.
It's his arena. Who do you got? You got Chuck Norris or you got Mike Tyson?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to pick the.
Yeah, you vote too.
Okay. Okay, what was the question?
In a boxing match, who you got winning? Mike Tyson or Chuck Norris?
Oh, who we got winning? Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson. As much as Chuck Norris can use his hands, and I think he'd be an effective boxer,
Yeah.
the fact that Chuck Norris can't kick would be a huge disadvantage for him
Right.
because he did rely a lot on his legs. So more so than anything, like a side kick or a spinning back kick. So that was one of his go-to moves when he would do kickboxing. So yeah, I've got Mike Tyson in the boxing match also.
Yeah.
Tyson was man, he was an animal. He was something special.
Kind of an animal.
Man, he had the very unique blend of speed and power.
Better than Ali.
That will spark a lot of debates, but I think yes.
Wow.
I think yes. Muhammad Ali, I think, was smoother, and he had pretty good head movement, and he was way bigger than Tyson.
Really?
Oh yeah, Tyson he's a small heavyweight, so he fought in the heavyweight division.
Right.
But Tyson's only like 5'8", 5'9".
I would think
he's a
that's
rock,
an advantage, though, for a boxer.
To be shorter?
Than your opponent.
No, it's actually a disadvantage because they have reach.
Yeah.
So Muhammad Ali had reach. He had long arms and he was tall. So he would jab people and just keep them away, and he'd dance around them. So Muhammad Ali had a lot of speed too and a lot of really good footwork.
Yeah.
But I think Tyson was faster.
Okay.
Tyson was more of a bull.
Yeah, he was very compact and very.
And he could take a lot more. He could get hit hard.
He surprisingly had very good defense. He was hard to hit.
Right.
Because he would get really low because he was already shorter than everybody else.
Right. Well, see, that's what I'm thinking. Wouldn't that be... Anyhow, go on.
It could be if you did it right.
Okay.
And Tyson did do it right. So, yeah. So if we were talking Muhammad Ali and Tyson, which is another topic of conversation, I would take Tyson.
Yeah.
But again, that's because I didn't grow up in the Muhammad Ali era.
Right.
I never saw him fight in person. You only see videos of him.
Right.
So now in a karate fight,
Karate.
Definitely.
who you got, Norris or Tyson?
Norris. Chuck Norris would probably.
Yeah.
Because he can move and kick and think. He thought faster.
Yeah, I would probably say Chuck Norris also.
Me too.
Yeah, because I mean that's kind of his realm.
Right.
Now, granted, Chuck Norris didn't do karate. Just so you're aware, he did what was called Tang Sudo.
Okay.
Yeah, which is I think a Korean art.
Okay.
But yeah, he didn't technically do quote unquote
Okay.
karate, even though it's easiest to say karate.
Yeah.
Everybody understands the term karate.
Karate, right?
Yeah, it's an umbrella term.
Yeah.
All of this stuff
Just
is-
like the term kung fu, on a side note, the term kung fu isn't a martial arts term.
Yeah.
What is it?
The term kung fu is a skill in something.
In anything.
In anything.
Kung Fu.
Yeah. So you could have good kung fu as a teacher. Or
Okay.
good kung fu as a
Wow.
meat cutter. So the term kung fu is universally associated
Yeah.
with martial arts.
Really?
It's actually not a martial art. It's a term of skill.
Well, thank you,
So,
Sensei, for
Yeah,
that lesson.
exactly. Little side note for you. Okay, so we got 1-1 Tyson and Norris.
Right.
Now where they're in a cage with like just anything goes types of rules. Okay.
Same two people.
Same two people.
I think
In a
I'd
cage
have to
fight.
I'd have to go with not Norris, but
Tyson? You're
Tyson,
going to go with Tyson in this
Because-
instance?
because I think he could turn into more of an animal in the cage,
Yeah. Okay.
and he'd be more aggressive.
I can see that. I can see that argument. Who you got? You got Tyson or Norris?
I got Norris.
You got Norris.
on this.
Okay. What's
yeah.
who,
My
what,
reasoning for
what's
that,
your reasoning?
it's freestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Norris would be more adept at freestyle,
Okay.
putting different things together,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to Tyson. Yeah, I'm thinking Tyson just is going to be straight. I got my boxing routine and moves, and I can move pretty fast, but I think the final touch would be Norris would outwit him.
Okay. I could honestly see either one.
Right.
Like, I can make a case for Tyson winning, and I can make a case for Chuck Norris winning.
Okay.
Like, if Chuck Norris gets maneuvered into the side of the cage, he's done. So if Tyson can kind of like pin him against a wall, Chuck Norris is done. Okay. But if Chuck Norris can keep Tyson away from him and possibly grab him, like grapple with him, I think Chuck Norris would probably get him too. So, like, for me, it's like, if either one of them wins, it'd be like, I could see that happening. So it's hard. I could say one or the other.
Yeah.
Because, again, Mike Tyson hits so hard that he just has to hit you one time and fight's over. Literally. Chuck Norris can hit hard, but Tyson hits harder.
Yeah.
Now, if Chuck Norris kicks you in the head, then I would think that would probably be the end of it also.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to say it's a draw for me.
Yeah.
Because, again, I like how you went with Tyson and you went with Chuck Norris, because now people can see how either one would work, which I think either one would. Because, I think, when you're dealing with, like, freestyle, Chuck Norris could kick his legs. He could grapple with him.
Right.
He can punch him. As good as a boxer is, that Tyson is, it's only his hands.
Right.
So that inherently has a semi of a disadvantage if you let it be. So it's that whole jack of all trades, master of one.
Right. That's true. So he can't get his hands behind his back, is that what I was saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say it's a draw for me, but I can see how Tyson could win, and I could see how Chuck Norris could win.
Yeah.
So. But let us know what you guys think, who you think would win, either Chuck Norris or Mike Tyson. That'd be, man, I'd love to see both of them fight in their primes. That'd be pretty cool.
That
like
would be
a crossover match like that. But Chuck Norris, I think, is like, what, almost 80?
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he's in his 70s.
Somebody look it up, quick.
If you know how old Chuck Norris is, make sure you comment and let us know. I know Tyson's in his 60s, I think. Late 50s or 60s.
Sorry, Chucky.
But, let us know how old Chuck Norris or Mike Tyson is also. So
I think Tyson's about my age.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I definitely got to look that up, because I know he was.
And I am 69 years old.
I don't think he's that old. I think Chuck Norris, or not Chuck Norris, I think Mike Tyson was like 18 back in the 80s. Because he was the youngest heavyweight champ.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the youngest heavyweight champion. So, but let us know what you guys think. Who would win in a fight between Chuck Norris and Mike Tyson. And also, leave your favorite Chuck Norris quote in the comments. Have you guys heard of those?
No, I haven't.
Like, Superman goes to bed with Chuck Norris pajamas. Or Chuck Norris sleeps with a night light on, not because he's afraid of the dark, but the dark is afraid of Chuck Norris.
The dark is afraid.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. The man is invincible.
The boogeyman checks his closet for Chuck Norris. Jokes like that are like, when Chuck Norris was born, he drove his mom home. Or
I've never heard any of those.
Yeah, these are good. They're like, when Chuck Norris was 18, he let his parents move out. So. Yeah, or one of my favorites is he doesn't mow the lawn. He just stares at the grass and dares it to grow. Or Chuck Norris only uses body doubles or stunt doubles for crying scenes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Or Chuck Norris doesn't believe in the periodic table. He only believes in the element of surprise.
Oh, that's...
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
okay, you got to stop.
Yeah. So leave us your favorite Chuck Norris fact or joke, because those are always a lot of fun. But moving on to our final thoughts. Any final thoughts for anybody before we leave?
Oh my goodness. We kind of went all over the place, huh?
Yeah, we did, and that that's just kind of the nature of the beast. So.
It is, yeah. I don't know. It's been fun.
Yeah.
This has really been a fun experience.
It's
Thank
funny
you.
because most people when they first start, it's a little nerve-wracking. Like, you're like, oh, okay, I can't really like talk or anything. But all of a sudden, halfway through, you're just
right.
you're loosened up and you're talking freely and all that stuff. But one of the themes we've been kind of doing with our final thoughts is one of the sayings we've been doing a lot is making an impact. Trying to make an impact on someone's day. So when you're out there, do something nice for somebody. Be a positive influence for them.
Yeah.
Make an impact to make make their day a better play, or make their day better, or make an impact to make your world a better place.
Yes.
So we always kind of end with, do something impactful, make an impact in something.
That's right.
So
Even
Sounds
if
like a good idea.
yeah.
it is a good idea, just smile.
Smile. Just smile. Any final thoughts from you, Dad?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy retirement day
It's a tough job to do, but somebody had to do
to
it.
come out and spend almost 2 hours with us talking about stuff that's going on.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, we've
goodness.
been going for an hour and 45 minutes.
This has been really a lot
So,
of fun.
yeah.
Thank you so much for asking us.
You're welcome. I appreciate you guys coming out, and maybe we'll have to get you back out again. So
Okay, dokie.
make sure you kick it with us next time. We'll have another special guest host on the show. So make sure you tune in to see who that's going to be. So have a great day, everybody.